Do you guys think this is art referencing, or do you think this crosses the line into art tracing? I'm curious about your thoughts. So this happened a couple months ago, but this was a tweet written by Twitter user Rady, who writes, "Does anyone even still remember what Risa Illy used AI? I remember a man with the nickname Blurry doing a thread, but as far as I remember, they went to Blue Sky. Does anyone have contacts to contact him?" Again, I'm so sorry because it's probably going to get annoying, but another disclaimer, please don't send hates to any of these people involved, okay? This is the artist in question that's being discussed. Their handle is Risa Illy, and they do a lot of artwork, a lot of fan art for 21 Pilots. Also, just note, because this will become relevant later, a lot of their pieces involve heavy iconography, especially of skeletons. So, the person that's being talked about actually responded in Twitter. Their name is Pilot Kuel, and they write, "Hi, it's Sin, the creator of that thread. I actually came back like a week ago. Yes, she has traced over a few AI generated images and a lot of other people's work, and even profited off of it. It's disappointing to see somebody who never publicly addressed her plagiarism get noticed by the band, and those who work with the band repeatedly. She actually sent somebody, her fiance, her brother, I'm not sure, but they share the same surname, to harass me and mock my art after I exposed her. Never got an apology for that either. I'm not going to continue to look into Risa's tracing anymore, even though I'm sure there are more examples, because frankly, it was exhausting to compile and no one's gonna believe me anyways. But for the sake of archival, here is a link to the list I compiled of everything I could find." Then they add a discontinued list. So Pilot adds, "Note, some of the posts have been deleted, but she never publicly admitted she traced. She quietly deleted them and never acknowledged it. She claims she's not an art thief and shows speed paints, but never the pieces in question." And then Pilot adds the correct list. And then they add, "I'm sorry, this is one more damning, and my mix-up probably doesn't help everyone trying to decide whether they think it's baloney or not." And then they added this in August, gaining some traction again, and I might spark controversy with this. "I don't believe Risa being Russian matters in this situation. She has shown support for Ukraine in the past. I don't think she supports the Russian government. We can't fall into the traps where we believe all people from one nation are evil. Remember, there are Russian journalists who disappeared for dissenting too much. No person is intrinsically evil for where they were born. People are people, borders are not. And in case it needs to be said here, free Ukraine, free Palestine, fuck ICE." And that is because, like, when this was circulating, people were like, "Oh, because the artist is from Russia, like, they have, like, pro-Russian sentiments and hate Ukraine." But let's take a look at this. So this is the Excel sheet in question, and this is extremely extensive. So this is where I'm asking, do you think that this would be considered tracing, or do you think it's considered just referencing, or that it's allowed? So this one, a stock photo on alamy.com of a skeleton hand. And look, the original post is now removed. Here we have some side-by-sides. We have a skeleton head, and that skeleton head is basically one-to-one present in the work. It's been modified, it's been colored, and the graphics have been added. I wonder if this is still up, actually. I don't know. Nope, it's also gone. Another skeleton that's been one-to-one added in the piece. Here we have these two, where the head was allegedly traced in Risa's piece. The essence of the piece is the same, but you could argue the piece is like referenced, I would say, for this one. It's interesting. We have a skeleton, and it's been mirrored and like one-to-one traced. Here, this is another skeleton in Wikipedia, also basically one-to-one present in the art piece. But would you consider it like referencing, or would you consider it tracing? Because skeletons are pretty hard to draw, but then these are also like copyrighted images. So now we get to this. This is an art piece made by somebody named Jason Koza. This is their DeviantArt. They drew this in 2012. That's this one. And this one lines up like basically one-to-one. So this is an actual artist's work now. This is not a photograph, not a Wikipedia image, not a vector image online. This piece is still up, which features a head that, in my opinion, has been traced off of Jason's work. Here we have another side-by-side. Do you see the like zigzagging on the back here? And the cut on the side? It's like one-to-one. So we could argue that Risa's skeleton head is different. Similar essence of the piece, in which it's like the cape on the head, the skull, and then a hand. But, you know, there are elements that are changed. One thing that hasn't really been changed, though, is the hand. The hand is like basically one-to-one traced. Do you think this is like a reference, or due to the fact there was tracing in it, is that a little bit too much? This skeleton head, this skull, is this skull. I was like, this looks like 101. So it's like a photo bash piece with a hand that's traced off of this artist's artwork. It's an artist by the name of Chunlo on DeviantArt. So the hand was traced, the essence of the piece is really similar, but the skull is traced off of a Flickr photo. Now we have another side-by-side where the skeleton walking in the background is exactly basically this skeleton with a little bit of modifications in the rib cage. Then we have this side by side. So this is from Gorillas by Clint Eastwood, and it's a one-to-one trace of a still at like 3 minutes and like 47 seconds. I would argue that's traced. This one's a little too close. Then we have these two, an Adobe stock image. You could technically like buy the rights to an Adobe stock image, so possibly we could argue that Risa could have gotten the rights to use it. We have a Shutterstock image with a skeleton in the back. Then we have this side by side. Some of the shape is really similar. The essence of the piece is pretty similar, but you know, there were like changes made to the background, to the ground. There's a person in the front. So, you know, you can maybe say like, oh, it's referenced instead of like a direct copy. The house is like the same. This one, you could argue maybe it's a reference. But then if you look at the hands are like really similar to this photo, right? We have a hand reaching here. We have this hand that's really similar to this hand. This hand and this one looks really similar. And this one and this one. This is kind of funny. Then we have this Pinterest photo of somebody sitting on a sinking car. And it really looks to be the same car. The person's pose looks a bit different because it's happened so many times. That's the thing. If it was like a one-off, two-off, like whatever. This is a Pinterest photograph, like the same skeleton. This skull is very traced here. Another skeleton that is very traced. There's more. This one now is from an artist by the name of Charlotte Ginder. So this is their piece in question. This is so pretty. But yeah, if you look at this, a lot of the limbs are very similar to the piece. That's a little too close for comfort here. Then we have this drawing that's very, very heavily referenced off this photo from Vogue. The pose is basically exactly the same. We have this skull, which is like one-to-one to this one. These two. Then there's this. So the original photo is credited to Isaac David according to this sheet. It's like all over Pinterest, this piece. This one, I don't even know if they painted it themselves. As in they did paint, like there are brushstrokes on their piece, if that makes sense. But it kind of looks like they painted over the photo instead of like starting from scratch. But I don't know, right? This one, like the Shutterstock image is like basically traced over. Again, two side by sides. Ooh, this is really similar. Low-key, it looks like they took the photo and then painted over the photo, right? Because if you see here, like the mountain range has a divot here and then another divot here, and all those divots are also present. And then this kid is just in this piece here. Then we have these falling birds. This is looking really similar, y'all. This is like one-to-one. Again, it kind of looks like a paint over in a way. But again, more poses that are super similar, right? Like the skull is the same, the essence too, with the hood and everything. I keep saying the essence, and like on its own, like having a similar vibe doesn't mean you copy or trace. That's totally fine. But because this person has a history of what looks to be tracing works, that's why it gets a little like, oh, interesting. The hand is also traced. This side by side. This one, we could maybe make the argument, yeah, like this is referenced, you know, it's similar, but not quite the same. So maybe you could argue that for that piece specifically. The skull. This again looks like a paint over of the original photo. Do you see like the window, the bed here, the bed frame in the back, and the pillow placed on it is like exactly one-to-one. Then we have a dog, skeleton. At least the head was changed here in this piece. Same skeleton. The ribbage is the same. Same skeleton. Same skeleton. The person has been traced over. This one is AI. So this is the reference photo. It's an AI piece. And this one is, sorry, it's just funny because they traced the birds. Like this is bird 1, bird 2, and bird 3. Like they traced the AI birds. This piece again. The hand, this hand, the hands look exactly the same. The body is a bit different, right? The shirt kind of billows out a teensy bit and it's a little bit straighter here. The ribs again. This one is AI. It's an AI skull, right? It literally says collaboration between Anthropreneural and Xenomorph.ai. It doesn't look exactly the same on first glance because the AI piece has really strong shadows, but if you slowly tweak it, it's like one-to-one. Pieces that are really similar. This one, all the trees and everything is exactly the same. The hands are flipped, so they're upside down, side by side. This one, this is a 3D model made by an artist called Phil Liu. That's Phil's work, and then Risa's piece, where again, it's basically like one-to-one. This is like an egregious amount of heavy referencing. We have more. Sin did a wild job of compiling all of these, and it ends here. So all of these examples were up until October 6, 2024, but it's a lot. The thing is, the profiting aspect is because Risa sells prints. They sell merch on Redbubble. They also sell prints on InPrint. And that is where you get a little bit of like oh, okay. So like a lot of this tracing is also being monetized through people being able to purchase prints and stuff like that. Otherwise, it would be like, okay, don't do that. But like, you know, but because like prints are being sold, then it's kind of like, oh, that's not great. But I'm curious about your thoughts. Do you think it's like a case of just referencing arts? Because like, you know, in a lot of the pieces, like there are really similar elements, but liberties have been taken to make other things look different, or is it too much? And again, don't send hate to any of the parties involved. In my personal opinion, I think it's come too close for comfort. Me personally, if it's like tracing the skeletons, not great, I guess, but they are hard to draw. So it's like, okay, like could maybe look another way. But then like now we have actual artist works, artist 3D renders, AI pieces that were traced, and what looks to be like people's photographs that were directly painted over. It wasn't even like it was referenced and you did the brushstrokes yourself. So that to me is like, okay, now it's getting a little uncomfortable here. But that's me personally. I would love to hear your thoughts with respect in the comment section down below. If you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there for streamers and creators like emotes and overlays, and a coffee with free resources like a free sponsorship guide. And I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST.